Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials. So, we had a suggestion, as much as you hear our dog.
Yeah.
We should introduce him. Everybody say hey to Baller.
Hi, Baller.
You'll hear him off and on in the background. It's okay. We're also drying some herbs, so you'll probably hear that in the background as well. Anyway.
Yes, I'm being productive today.
Right?
Let's talk healing spells.
Okay.
This is a subject we need to cover anyway because healing spells sometimes can be a little dangerous.
I will agree with you on that.
When performing a healing spell, first thing you need to know is what's wrong with the person.
Right. What's the diagnosis?
What's the diagnosis? And the diagnosis isn't a list of symptoms.
No. That's not, you're not looking for symptoms. You're not looking for...
As a matter of fact, I would
that.
even sit here and suggest try not to cure symptoms.
Right. I think that kind of defeats the purpose of what you're doing.
Right. I mean, so let me give you an example of where in the world healing symptoms went horribly wrong.
Yes, let's do.
All right. A friend of Lord Men back in the day kept on having different symptoms and stuff like this, so they kept on doing healing spells for the guy. Mm-hmm. You remember him telling this story.
Yeah.
You know,
very vividly.
It was like over a month, over a couple of years or something. Mm-hmm. This guy kept on having different symptoms, and they would do healing spells and move on. Well, one day the guy just suddenly falls out on the floor of going into a diabetic coma.
Right.
Because he didn't have any of the symptoms of being a diabetic because they healed him all.
So it wasn't being treated.
So it wasn't being treated, and then causes a bigger problem.
Okay, but now question comes, and I'm sure somebody's going to ask this. If you're healing the symptoms, how are you not, in essence, treating the root problem?
Well, diabetes is a biological problem. I don't think any magic will fix. I mean, there's just certain things I don't think magic can fix.
But you see the question, though.
Right.
How are you healing symptoms without touching the problem? How can you do that?
Well, I believe that most of these magic spells are just suppressing the symptoms.
See, that's where I'm getting at.
All right? They're not actually getting rid of them. They're just suppressing the symptoms or causing the symptoms not to appear.
Right.
Or somehow.
Right. So that's where the danger is.
That's
you're
where the
not
danger
really
is.
Healing anything. You're just suppressing.
When we're doing a healing without a diagnosis, we run into problems.
Yep.
All right? There's the trick on this. You have to have a diagnosis.
Right.
And I don't mean just going out on WebMD going, oh, here, this is what I think I got.
These are my symptoms.
Thumbs.
Click, 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 click. Oh, look, this is it. No, you go and have your test done.
Go and get your test
with
done.
your doctor.
And have a discussion with your doctor.
Right, and actually have a diagnosis.
Right. Because this is a big... Nobody understands how in the world the healing works in the pagan community. Mm-hmm. You have to work with your doctors. You have to work with your herbalist. You have to work with your apothecaries. You have to work with you got to get all these people to work together.
Right.
If you're going to somebody and you're doing a healing or something, you need to be aware of what in the world's actually going on.
Absolutely.
There are some other problems with healing. Now, I know a lot of healers like to use crystals and stuff to put the bad energy in. Mm-hmm. This becomes a problem too. Mm-hmm. All right? Because, again, most crystals act like regulators and will slowly leak out energy over time. Mm-hmm. Again, hence the reason they're great for protection. But if you're putting something bad in there, you got to put something good in there to hold it in place. You got to put a guard on that.
Well, and not only that, but if you're using that crystal to contain whatever bad energy you're quote-unquote healing from somebody, you need to cleanse that crystal every once in a while.
Well, I mean, yeah,
bury it in the ground, let it...
Well, you need to get it away from you no matter what, because, again, this stuff sort of acts like radiation.
Yes, it will leak out.
It's like nuclear waste. It will leak out. It will affect you. Matter of fact, a lot of the healers I know over the years are seem to be the most sickest people more than anything else. And every time you walk into their house, they're surrounded by all these crystals that they've got sickness in, and they're sitting there in the middle of them.
Yep. Stewing in their own juices, so to speak.
Right.
And no, that's not good.
No, I mean, if you're going to use this, yes, you need to put something in there to hold it in place and get it out of your house.
Right. Get it out of your house. You need to periodic, like I said before, if you're going to hang on to that crystal, then you need to cleanse it. You need to find something to do with that energy.
Right.
Regardless, however you handle it, it needs to be dealt with.
You know, Lady Alba has a box that's had spells and stuff to trap everything inside the box that she puts inside the box.
Yes.
All right? It's kind of like a safe, a witch safe.
Yes. I don't know how else to explain it, but yes, that's it.
Right. I mean, we find a big cabinet or something, and we scribe stuff all the way around it, runes and other symbols.
Sigils, angelic symbols, whatever you want to use. But you put some protection on that.
To try to hold things in.
Yes, absolutely.
So, again, here's one of the things I see a lot of healers do that I don't want to disagree with them. I understand what they're doing, but I still think they need to put something in there. Again, they themselves are too sick, and I think this is where the problem is.
Right.
Is that they use these stones to trap this stuff in there, then they hang on to them.
What's that old saying? Physician, heal thyself. Come on, take care of yourself, baby. Take care of yourself.
Please. Dipping into those energies and messing with them. You already got the stink on you. You just don't need to be sitting in it, too.
Right. There are residual effects, absolutely. And you need to be aware of that.
Now, there's another part of healing that gets a little rougher.
Do tell.
Because sometimes the only way to heal someone is to allow them to move on.
Sometimes.
To reincarnate and stuff like that. So the healing no longer is a healing, but more of a, here, let me guide you over to the other side. And that's...
Which can be a little...
daunting.
Yeah.
That procedure, sitting bedside and trying to guide that person over is not a fun thing.
No, it's not. Sometimes it's necessary.
And it can take you to some dark places for days afterwards when you...
Yes, it can.
If you're not careful and paying attention.
Absolutely.
So I don't hear a lot of healers talk about that part. They seem to want to ignore the part that maybe reincarnation is the only solution.
I think we don't talk about that because I think it's probably more of the taboo side of, and taboo's not the right word, but it's part of the darker side of healing, and it's not something that people want to talk about.
Well, it's like hospice care.
Yeah, hospice care is it's a terrible thing.
It's a terrible thing, but it's there and
it's necessary.
It's necessary, and these nurses and stuff are doing everything they can to make everybody comfortable.
Right.
During this process, because we know what's going on.
And honestly, it takes a special person to be a hospice nurse.
Yes, it does.
Wow. Because you're not only dealing with the patient, you're dealing with all the family members.
Yeah.
The house is going to be full of family members.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with them, and they've got questions. They're angry. They're sad.
They're distraught.
Oh, Lord.
So again, there is a part of healing where, even in the pagan traditions, we have a sort of hospice care mindset.
Yes.
That, we realize there are times we have to let nature take its course. You can't fight it anymore.
It's true.
But don't get me wrong. Now, I think Reiki is a good thing, and especially when you're having chronic pain.
Okay.
But I don't think Reiki will ever actually heal anything. I think, to me, and that could be wrong, Reiki to me is more like just going to the doctor and getting flu or cold symptom.
You think it's more like a Band-Aid?
I think it's more like a Band-Aid.
It's not really going to do anything to help the situation except maybe...
relieve the pain for a little while.
For a little while, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like, the acupuncture.
Acupuncture.
Right. And again, it's just like, doing Tai Chi and yoga and stuff like that, as long as you're doing it, it helps.
Right.
But as soon as you stop doing it, so again, it's not necessarily cure.
Right.
It's you're helping someone's managing their pain.
Right.
More than anything else. Mm-hmm. So, which, you can also do that through meditation. You can up your pain tolerance.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is possible. A lot of people in temples seems to do that automatically at some point for some reason.
Right. It does happen.
Some reason. It's always centered around meditation. As soon as your meditation starts to really take off, suddenly it's just like, oh, I burnt myself. When did that happen?
Right.
What else can we talk? What else would you like to say about?
Well, I know you and I have a little differing opinion about how healing works with the healer. Mm-hmm. You have the opinion that the energy that you're using doesn't replenish itself. That once it's used, it's used.
No, not necessarily. I believe the energy we're using is our own life force energy.
Right.
To heal someone else.
Right. And that once it's gone, once it's used, you've actually taken time off of your life.
Yeah, I believe every time you do that, when you're doing healings and you're really trying to use literally life force energy, my belief is that you're whacking off days and hours off the end of at the end of your life. You're just shortening it slightly to help somebody else.
So you don't think it's by a whole lot, but you do think you are.
I do think you are
taking some time off.
I believe it affects you. It depends on the sickness, how bad it is, how severe, and how many people are helping you.
Okay.
But again, when you do those spells, I don't think there's any way to sit here and go, okay, we're all going to take 4 hours of our life and put it. I don't. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's not quite that technical. Some people, I think, have an easier time transferring that life force energy, so they might accidentally give too much.
Okay.
While other people might not give as much because they're not quite as talented in that.
All right.
Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're talking about like the difference between someone who naturally plays a piano and someone who's taught a piano.
Right.
Only really smart music people can actually hear the difference sometimes in the way they do that. So, but there is a difference in the way you've learned and the way I don't know how to explain that. The easier talent person just seems to be able to do it easier.
Right.
It's like they got an extra skill or something.
Right. It's kind of like just something that comes naturally.
Right.
It's just
to some people and not others. I had no rhyme or reason.
Right.
I've never figured that out. But yeah, that's what I believe.
All right.
Now, you don't think that.
No, I am of the opinion that our energy is constantly, it's like a circuit with the earth and with everything that's around us, right? Mm-hmm. So we are made of stardust.
Right.
Scientifically, we are made of stardust.
Right.
Which means we are part of the cosmos, which means we are tapped into an infinite source of energy, right?
Right.
So that makes us part of that circuit. So I think that whatever we're throwing out gets recirculated. It may take a little longer to replenish.
Maybe.
But think of it kind of like, let's take RPGs, right? Games, right? When you play an RPG, a role-playing game, most of the time, magic casters have what's referred to as mana.
Right.
Right? Or mana, however you want to say it. You use it up, you sit down, you rest, it replenishes.
Right.
That's kind of how I view it. Not quite, but that's kind of how I view it. It's something that recirculates. We are part of a giant circuit of energy.
Yeah. I'm not saying we're not. It's just for some reason when it comes to healing, I think to help someone heal, we have to give them over life force. Actual life force energy, not... I don't know how else to explain that.
I get that.
That it needs... that you're trying to do something a little bit extra. This is not like me casting a spell to win the lotto or something.
No, I understand that, but I can't, for whatever reason, I can't get on board with that because it's not how I view energy. Again, for me, it's something that we can do,
Right.
because we are part of this greater force of creation.
I understand that.
You know, it's kind of like in the Bible. Okay, we'll go back to Christianity because I have my roots in Christianity.
Right.
Right? In the Bible, Jesus tells his disciples, you too can go and do the same things that I have done,
Yes.
which includes healing people, raising the dead, healing the sick, whatever, right?
Yeah.
If that's the case, how are we shortening our lifespan? I
mean,
can't.
the sad part about this is it's never one way to approve or not. We don't.
No, there's not.
We don't know how long. We know the average, but for one particular individual, me myself, nobody knows how long I'm supposed to live. What was my expiration date when I was born?
No,
nobody knows.
We can't prove it. We can't disprove it. Just like you can't prove or disprove what I'm saying,
well, of course,
or the way
not.
I believe. But it's an interesting argument when you sit down with people, because people have different views on it.
Right. It's just for some reason when I think it comes to life force energy, and I'm going to put it to you this way: we're mainly talking about healing other humans and stuff like that. Even if it was your dog and you're doing this, I still think you're giving up something, a little bit of your life.
Okay.
All right. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that it's you're taking years off out of whack or anything like that.
No, it's just you are taking some fraction of time
away from yourself,
however big or small it might be.
And no, I'm not sure. That energy might sort of replenishes itself. There might be a little bounce there.
Okay,
you might not use it all up, but hey, you know what? Hey, you used 2 hours, but hey, guess what? We're going to give you an hour back. There might be a cashback program.
Who's to say? It's like the Discover of healing. Cash back. We'll match it at the end of the year.
I mean, healing is a very big part of a lot of the spells and stuff we hear from.
It is for a lot of people, yeah.
Right. I mean, from getting pregnant to easy childbirth to not getting pregnant. These are all healing spells, technically because we're messing with our biologies.
Mm-hmm. We're trying to ease pain. We're trying to make things more bearable.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see that. They're all forms of healing.
Now, I think it takes a certain mindset to be one of these people. Which I will sit here and admit, I am not one of those people.
I am not either. I think I can be if I need to be, but I've got to be in a specific situation for that.
I tend to see more women do this than men. Priestesses seem to be better at this versus priest.
It's that Mother Nature.
It is. It's the whole entire thing. You and the family are out in the woods. A bear comes out. Everybody jumps behind dad.
Right.
But the kids go outside, scrape their knees. They're running to mom first.
Exactly. It's nurture. It's what women are good at.
I'm not sitting there saying men can't do this.
No, absolutely not.
I just tend to think women tend to be better at it.
Yes.
Than we are. I'm not saying we can't do it. It's just, I don't know. I can't explain that.
It's kind of like
it's kind of my mindset about women being nurses. They're better at it than guy nurses. Like I see the use of guy nurses, women tend to be better at that position.
Yeah, it's I think it's more of, again. I think it's more of women have that natural affinity towards nurturing
and caring and so
I think that's what makes them better at it, is because they're more in tune with it. It comes
natural to them.
And I think that makes them natural healers.
Right. Like I said, I think guys can do it. I just don't think we're as good at it as women tend to be.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's kind of like we might struggle a little bit to get it done, but hey,
it might take us a little bit longer.
It happens, right?
Anything else?
No, I think that about covers it.
Let's go get some coffee.
Let's get some coffee.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till